So the first thing that we're going to look at are some summary statistics, specifically an output table 13.1 that provides the difficulty estimates for each item in item difficulty order or measure order. And one of the first things to notice is that by default, Winsteps constrains the average item difficulty to be 0. And we see that there in the mean row at the bottom of the table. So under JMLE measure, you see that the mean is 0, as it's constrained to be. Then we can see that task 9 is the most difficult. 128 of the 425 students had a correct response, so not very many. And that results in a difficulty estimate for task 9 of 3.54 logits, the most difficult item. Similarly, if we go to near the bottom of the table, looking at task 6 in the bottom row, it has a difficulty of negative 2.42 logits. It was a much easier item where 414 of the 425 students answered that question correctly. After running a Rasch analysis, one of the first things that we look at is the performance of the individual items. And one metric for looking at individual items is item INFIT, which stands for Information Weighted Fit Statistic. And this fit statistics focuses on responses for people whose ability is very close to the specific item's difficulty. And the INFIT measure gives more weight to observation where the model expects most of the information. So that's right around the 50% probability point of a correct response. So it's very sensitive to patterns in unexpected responses in the target zone. Specifically, if an item had high INFIT, that suggests that the item doesn't function predictably for on-target respondents, which means that item doesn't function predictably for respondents whose ability is very near the difficulty of that item. And then an item with very low INFIT suggests that the item responses are overly predictable, redundant, or patterned, and this often happens with a very easy item. And then the counterpart to item INFIT is item OUTFIT. Item OUTFIT stands for Outlier Sensitive Fit Statistic. And this fit statistic focuses on all the responses now, especially from persons whose ability are far from the item's difficulty. Outfit is not weighted by information, therefore it's sensitive to extreme values. So for example, if a very low ability person gets a very hard or difficult item correct, that can strongly affect the outfit. And if outfit statistics have high values, that could indicate a number of things, including guessing, cheating, some type of a coding error. And like infit, if the outfit statistic is very low, that may also suggest overly consistent or constrained responses. Okay, I want to say a few more things about fit statistics and their interpretation. Normally, in output from software programs that do Rasch analyses, it's the mean square error value in that output that is your fit statistic, either infit or outfit. And a perfectly functioning item would have an expected infit and outfit of 1.0. And that's interpreted as the ratio of observed to expected variation. And fit statistics apply to either items or persons. Now, in terms of interpretation of the fit statistics values, really what we're shooting for are the values in the top row of this table. Fit statistics ranging from 0.5 to 1.5 are productive for measurement. They're contributing positively to the Rasch measurement model. And values outside of that range, they can be tolerable and might not necessarily suggest that items need to be removed until we really get down to the bottom row here, where infit and outfit, either one or both of them, are greater than 2.0. Because when we start getting values above 2.0, the item is really compromising and degrading the measurement model. So we want to look really closely at the idea of possibly removing that item from the measure. Now that we have a little bit more information about how to interpret fit statistics, let's look at the fit statistics for the 10-item trans-res measure that we ran the analysis on a few slides ago. In particular, I want to look at output table 10.1. And the nice thing about this table is it puts the items or the tasks in order of misfit. So at the top of the table are the most poorly fitting items of the 10. Again, when we're interpreting fit, if we look at the overall average of the fit statistics, both in fit and out fit, we see that the average fit across the 10 items is close to ideal. The average in fit is 0.97, average out fit is 0.91, and ideal situation would be that the average would be 1.0. Now, if we focus in on in fit, we see that all of the mean square values of in fit for the 10 tasks or 10 items are between 0.5 and 1.5. So all of these, from the standpoint of in fit, are productive for measurement. Now, if we look at the output a little bit, we see that task 9 has an outfit of 1.53, which is kind of borderline on productive for measurement, but probably not enough to get too worried about task 9, especially given that its infit is within range. And then again, task 6 has poor outfit, very low outfit, and that's likely due to its being very easy. So it has a lot of redundant responses. Let's look at an additional metric that we can apply at the item level to see whether individual items are performing optimally. An additional metric is called the item's point measure correlation. And in table 13.1, which again has the individual items ranked in their difficulty order, we have the point measure correlation, which is that column that's 3 columns from the right there. And what that correlation is it's a correlation between the individual item responses and the estimated Rasch person measures. And the purpose of this correlation is to indicate whether the items are functioning consistently with the overall latent trait being measured by the entire test or scale, right? The items in the overall scale ought to be telling the same story, right? And if they are, the correlations in the point measure correlation column will be positive, and in a well-functioning scale or test, those point measure correlations would range upwards of 0.3 to, say, 0.8. And we see here in table 13.1 that all of the point measure correlations for the 10 individual items are positive and they're larger than 0.3. And finally, let's talk about 2 additional considerations related to the items. The first is item separation. And item separation is an indicator of whether the current sample provides enough precision to distinguish and reliably order the items by their difficulties. Item separation asks the question, does the distribution of item difficulties combined with the precision provided by the sample size, do those jointly allow us to distinguish and reliably order items into a hierarchy? Mathematically, item separation is the ratio of the standard deviation of the difficulty estimates to the root mean squared error, where the root mean squared error is the square root of the sum of all the squared item standard errors multiplied by a constant, which is a reciprocal of the number of items. Further, we can take the item separation and calculate something called item separation reliability, which reflects how replicable or stable the item difficulty orderings would be with another sample of people of the same size and with the same ability distribution. And mathematically, item separation reliability can be computed by calculating the ratio of the item separation squared over 1 plus the item separation squared. A very informative thing that we can do with item separation values is we can translate them into item strata. Here's the premise of this approach. We want to determine how many statistically distinct levels of item difficulty we have in our items, where statistically distinct means that the intervals are separated by at least 3 standard errors. Using a threshold like this ensures that the estimates are not overlapping due to measurement error. There's a formula that we can use to convert item separation values into item strata, and that formula is defined as the number of statistically distinct levels, or strata, is equal to 4 times the separation value plus 1 divided by 3. So, for example, if we estimated an item separation of 2.0, that would result, after doing the arithmetic, of 3 statistically distinct strata or levels. I want to say a few things about how one might interpret item separation and item separation reliability values. If we look at the top table of the two, which is about the item separation index, we see that separation values 2 or below are considered poor because those values would result in less than 3 statistically distinct item difficulty strata or levels, which could be problematic for differentiating item difficulties and person abilities. Whereas if our item separation index is greater than 3, then that would provide at least 4 statistically distinct strata of item difficulties, which would be a much better situation. And then with regard to item separation reliability, we see from the table that beginning at about 0.8 and above, the item ordering goes from at least reasonably stable to very stable at values above 0.90. That would be a good situation to be in from an item separation reliability standpoint. And then at the bottom end, if we are observing reliability values below 0.70, that's considered weak. And in those situations, we might expect that the item difficulty ordering that we observed in one sample may not replicate in some new sample of different respondents. Now let's use some of these ideas in interpreting Winsteps output from our current transitive reasoning example. Here is a screenshot, partial output from table 3.1 from Winsteps. Notice that there are item separation and item separation reliability values at the bottom of that table. Also notice that there are 2 rows. There's a row labeled as real and one labeled as model. The real row, those estimates in that row account for error and item misfit, whereas in the model row, there are some optimistic assumptions about perfect Rasch model fit. So as a result, we're going to take the conservative approach and interpret the item separation from the real row. And we see that that value is 8.66. So doing the arithmetic to translate that value into the number of statistically distinct strata, you see the arithmetic suggests that there are almost 12 distinct strata, which is quite good. And then following along to the item separation reliability, regardless of whether we're looking at the real or model row, that reliability is estimated at 0.99, which is very good. That means that this item difficulty hierarchy in these 10 items is very highly stable and is replicable. We would expect it to replicate across different samples of people.